Good morning. Welcome to the Pennington County Planning Commission, September 22nd, 2025. Recommendations of the Planning Commission on certain items from this agenda will be considered by the Board of Commissioners at their regular meeting on October 7th, 2025 at 10:30 a.m. As I usually tell you, that 10:30 is an approximate time they start planning items. Planning Commission utilizes speaker request forms which are available in the commission chambers during the meeting. If you're an applicant, you do not, or a representative of an applicant, you do not need a speaker request form. Roll call. Lori, and she had told us last meeting she wasn't going to be here. Is all I've got. If everyone received their packet or reviewed it on the e-site, approval, Chair, consider approval of the minutes if you had an opportunity to read them.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded to approve the minutes of the Pennington County Planning Commission, September 8th, 2025 minutes. Discussion from the audience, from the commission, hearing none. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Agenda. That same agenda certainly was in your documents, and I'm sure you had all opportunity to review the agenda. Chair would address a motion to approve the agenda.
So move.
Second.
Moved and seconded to approve the agenda for the Pennington County Planning Commission, September 22nd, 2025. Discussion from the audience, from the commission. Hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Consent agenda. Good morning, Brittany.
Good morning, Commissioners. Brittany Hand, Planning Director. The following items have been planned on the consent agenda or placed on the consent agenda for action to be taken on all items in accordance with staff's recommendation by a single vote. Any item may be removed from the consent agenda by any Planning Commissioner, staff member, or audience member for separate consideration. The findings of this Planning Commission on certain items from this agenda are recommendations to the Pennington County Board of Commissioners, who will make the final decision. Item number 4 is conditional use permit review CU 1406 for Dennis and Catherine Durley to review a recreational resort to allow up to 10 seasonal rental cabins, a manager's residence, a maintenance shop, and a kitchen in an agriculture district, and staff recommends approval. Item number 5 is conditional use permit review CUR 2028 for Mystic Road Cottage LLC to review a vacation home rental in a rural residential district, and staff recommends approval. Item number 6 is conditional use permit review CUR 2101 for Thorn Kinetic Systems, Robert Espinoza, to review a home occupation, a home-based firearm business in a suburban residential district, and staff recommends approval. Item number 7 is conditional use permit review CUR 2315 for James and Linda Wrench to review a vacation home rental in an agriculture district, and staff recommends approval. Item number 8 is conditional use permit review COCUR 24-0016 for Tom and Michelle Skoog to review an accessory dwelling unit to be located in an existing detached garage in an agriculture district, and staff recommends approval. Item number 9 is major plan unit development amendment review PU 2307 for Black Elk Resort LLC to review an existing plan unit development to allow an additional recreational vehicle site, and staff recommends approval. And finally, item 10 is minor plan unit development amendment review PUR 2308 for Carl Gosselin and Sylvia Below to review an existing plan unit development to live in a recreational vehicle while building a single-family residence, and staff recommends approval.
Thank you, Brittany. First item would be, does anyone have any clerical items that they believe are in error in the consent calendar? Hearing none, we'll go on to polls. Does staff have any item they would like to have pulled?
No.
Commission, any item that you're interested in having pulled?
Yes, Chairman, number 10.
Number 10?
10.
All right. Any other item? All right. Anyone in the audience that is here to speak on an item or would like to have that item pulled to discuss it? When we vote on these, we vote on them in a package. One vote covers all of the items. All right. Let's put a motion to approve the consent calendar.
Mr. Chair, I'd make a motion to approve the consent calendar with the exception of item 10.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded to approve the consent calendar as submitted for September 22nd, 2025 of the Pennington County Planning Commission, with item number 10 pulled. Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. On to item number 10.
I was just a little confused in the, says the size is 4.09 acres, and then on item number 13, it says that a minimum of 9.67 acres.
So, Cody Sack, Senior Planner. This is a planned unit development. The property itself is 4.09 acres. When you amend planned unit development, you have to keep the original conditions of that planned unit development in there. So that 9.67 is the common lot area. There's several, I believe 3 or 4 common lots. That's that acreage. That's what was required by the original PUD. So that condition doesn't necessarily have anything to do with the requested use of the amendment. It was just a condition that we had to put in there.
Okay.
While we got you up here, and I asked Brittany whether she'd talk about it. Basically, it's the PUD that's still approved. You're satisfied the RV is no longer necessary?
Correct, yes. So when you have a sorry, it's a Monday. A planned unit development, you think of it as its own zoning district. So when you amend it, you're adding a use to that lot. We can't just end it and take it away because it's now part of that zoning district for that lot. So that's why it's continued for approval, but we put it as a review based on a complaint basis only, or as directed by the planning commission to bring it back. So, 3 weeks from now, if we get a complaint that they're still living in that RV, or we're out there and we see that they're still living in that RV, we can bring it back in front of the planning commission to have you guys put it on the agenda for the next meeting.
So what in effect you're doing is saying that they're violating one of the conditions then of the PUD
Yep, and then we would
when
just
you bring it back.
Yep, and then we would just ask the planning commission to put it on an
Okay,
agenda to
understood.
review it again.
Okay. Everybody understand that? 'Cause Mike and I got confused. We're old. We were ready to, we actually thought you goofed up, Cody. Can you imagine that?
Hey,
Pick on you like that?
happens.
All right, but I do understand what you're saying. Anybody else have a question for Cody while we've got him up here? Then without going further on number 10, Chair to address a motion.
Make a motion that we approve PUR 23-08.
With the conditions?
With 22 conditions?
Yeah, 22. Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve PUR 23-08 with 22 conditions per staff's recommendations. Discussion from the audience, from the commission. Hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. On to item number 11. Good morning, Megan.
Morning. Megan Talmadge, planner. Agenda item 11 is lot line adjustment plat, COLAPL 25-0003. And this is to reconfigure lot lines to create lot 4R and 5R of Country Hills subdivision. The applicant and owner is Judith Donahue. This is located in between High Range Road and Slate Prairie Road, and there's no flood hazard on the property. This is a reconfiguration of lot lines to allow Lot 5R access from High Range Road. Apparently, there's some elevation discrepancies that they can't access it out the lot currently sits. The right-of-way was not 66 feet wide, so an additional 8 feet of right-of-way needed to be dedicated. But there will be no rezone or comprehensive plan amendment needed, so staff recommends approval of the lot line adjustment plat with 9 conditions. Well, 4 conditions, sorry.
Questions for Megan? Hearing none, does everybody understand there's a number of ways that access could have been set up for this, but what they're requesting here, so. Okay? Chair to address the motion.
I'd make a motion to accept the lot line adjustment plat COLLAPL 250003 with 4 conditions.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded to accept for staff's recommendation approval of COLLAPL 25-0003 with 4 conditions. Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. On to item number 12.
Agenda item number 12 is minor planned unit development amendment. The number on there should be COPU 25-0007. And this is to allow a manager's residence on this particular property within the planned unit development. The property currently contains rental cabins. There's a stage with dressing rooms, restrooms, a swimming pool. The applicant has just requested a manager's residence, which would need to meet 25-foot setbacks. It would need a building permit, and they have requested to build a new on-site wastewater treatment system for this particular manager's residence. But again, staff recommends approval of COPU 25-0007 as it appears to be in harmony with the surrounding area.
All right. Questions for Megan? I've got one. Lived up there a long time. Originally, and I know all these properties are separated. In fact, all 3 of them are PUDs, aren't they? The guest ranch, part of it, or whatever you call it, way up on the top. And then farther down were McCaskill and his brothers. Started the houses there originally, aren't they, all 3? Yeah. So they all started at one time with a manager's type of thing. This one apparently didn't start with a manager's residence. Okay, that's all, I mean,
Well, there's individual lots that have residences on it, so it's not necessarily not in harmony with what's already out there.
okay.
I think originally when McCaskill's owned it, they were the managers of it, so they lived in one of the lots.
Yeah, I remember, and it developed slowly. They didn't necessarily. Sometimes I think what we're getting at, where I'm getting at is where these, because I'm sure that it involves the employment of the person themselves. In other words, it's like a Benny, it's a deep woods Benny for working out in the woods and working with all these people with their tourist things. You get to live on the same spot with them. Isn't that wonderful?
Yeah.
And anyway, I'm just saying, sometimes maybe we should is this something that we should just have incorporated, that it doesn't have to come all the way back and change the PUD? That's all I was getting at.
So we updated our ordinance for commercial zoning, and it does allow a manager's residence now as a use by right if there's an established commercial use. So moving forward, but that isn't effective until the 23rd, but this is an older PUD that didn't
Okay.
have that in there.
So we're both headed the same direction, in other words. Okay. I'm just saying to save people time, save money on these applications. It's just part of the program.
Mr. Chair, I'll go ahead and make a motion to approve minor plan unit development amendment PUD 25-0007 with 35 conditions.
Is there a second?
So move.
All right, it's been moved and seconded to approve per staff's recommendation. Minor planned unit development amendment, CO PUD 25-0007 with 35 conditions. Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. On to, we can even see which item. No, we don't need 13, so we're on 14.
So item 14 is County Board Report. The Board of Commissioners concurred with the Planning Commission's recommendations from their September 8th meeting. The conditional use permit review 1928 for R&J LLC, Justin Eisenbrand, to review a recreational vehicle park. This item was approved at the last Board of Commissioners meeting.
Thank you, Brittany. And I understood that when they did approve it, there was some give and take on some of those things that we struggled with in the discussions.
There was a change in the hours.
Yeah.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
so Brittany, getting back to this, Justin's Pine Haven campground.
Yeah.
So if I understand it, you have the elements of that would be the event center, and then you have the RV sites, and then you have the cabins. I mean, they're all, each one's their own separate entity in a way.
Correct. So he is zoned highway service, so the vacation cabins are used by rights and highway service. The event center and the RV park are conditional uses in highway service. So that's kind of the
So
differentiation.
the idea came that, you know, we were concerned about wood campfires to the health of the neighbors. There, you know, comment was made that we have no jurisdiction what type of material they burn. You could burn wood, you could burn propane, as long as it was something not illegal. My question was, if we had to go back, instead of rezoning that from ag to highway service, if we would have done something very similar to what we just looked at today, we're gonna zone this a planned unit development, and let's just say 40 conditions. Now, as a planned unit development, would we have the authority to sit there and say, instead of 25-foot backs, you're gonna have 50-foot setbacks, and instead of burning firewood, you're gonna burn propane? Under a planned unit development with specific conditions, would we have more jurisdiction than we did with the highway service? If this ever comes up again, I'm just saying that event center is a whole separate, to me, a whole separate entity, and we have no control over it in the sense other than a conditional use, but in a planned unit development, we could have been very specific what you can do and what you can't do.
Correct. So PUD is a negotiated zoning district, so you could have set increasing setbacks in that district. However, I'm not sure about the fires, because that was something our state's attorney had said, not sure if we have purview over that, because the South Dakota Wildland Fire kind of regulates that under their
However-
purview.
However, I don't think we had the PUD when Justin was doing his.
No, that was one of the times that I believe that we changed our
It was a
comprehensive
gap,
plan.
right. And then the second thing is, and I did bring that up to him because I brought it up in the meeting, that I thought that the federal guidelines, I wasn't quoting from or anything, I remembered when I read that you approve a fire permit, it also talks about putting it out. And people are required to put it out according to what they agreed to under that permit. And nobody's doing it. There's so many people that just leave them smolder and go out. And the truth is, in some of the RV parks, they're very tough about enforcing that end of the rule about putting them out. They'll come around and put them out, and the next morning, they'll tell the folks. Because I've been in RV parks where that's done. They'll knock on your door and say, please don't leave tonight, or tonight leave your fire pit burning. We had to come by and put it out. And they usually, most of them had a little pickup with a tank or something in the back and a pressure hose. But that is in there too, and I understand that did come up, that they would have to look at doing a better job of putting them out. Did they congregate them into group type pits? Okay, I wondered whether they did
No.
that. There doesn't seem to be advantage much way or the other on that to me. I don't know. I see some of the parks do it both ways. Individual ones. I think Rafter J up there has individual ones, or used to when I stayed up there. And there's another one up there that has a central one, so. But that, they did, it says right in there, and you're agreeing to that, after you build this pit the right way, the feds say you're supposed to build it, you're supposed to put the fire out too, when you're done with it. You're not supposed to leave it just burning and smoking. So I would hope they would look.
Apologize, I had to take that phone
Oh,
call.
no,
but
that's okay.
I guess my question was, would there be a little more, could the county have a little more authority if it was the planned unit development? And we said because you're in a upper scale neighborhood, that we would prefer that, the setbacks be a little more larger, a little more control over the type of fire.
You could have under the PUD. I do believe in that instance, though, it was rezoned under a previous owner, and then it was sold, and then it was utilized that way. So I think the previous owner didn't really know what they were going to do with it. They just wanted it zoned that way in order to sell it.
Right, yeah, it was Pancratz to Rod Papel, and then the Papel to Justin. And if I went back and really looked at that real hard, and Papel, I think, did try to work with some of those neighbors, and if I recall, it was 107 or 117 feet that he was going to try to work something out, that they could literally buy that strip to, it never went to fruition, but there was a lot of negotiation in the very beginning.
buffer.
That could have,
Right.
could have resolved a lot of this.
Another thing I understood, because we didn't have the applicant here when we were reviewing it at our time, we had to go without it. I understood that, I tried to follow, but that he volunteered to look into some lower lumen number lights too in the future as he replaces them.
I believe he was working with Jason to try to
Correct.
mitigate some of the concerns of the neighbors.
Yeah, there's more, he has a particular light, we've got the same thing right here in town at the place I live in. And it's a tough one because they don't have any diffusers or things like that that are available for that light. What are you gonna do if you can't buy this stuff for it? But lower lumens might help too, some of the neighbor concerns. Anyway, it sounded like, I don't know how many of you followed, it was a pretty good review of it and the best they could do, and at least the people did a lot of talking. We didn't get that opportunity here, but that's the way it goes. The applicants, if you remember, the people that were opposing didn't file their stuff in time, and the applicant wasn't here, so that we had a little bit of a open door there, so to speak. We couldn't go one way or the other, so. Just wanted to remind you, but we did pass it on the best we could. And it got reviewed much more thoroughly at your direction, and I thank you for that, you guys.
Well, I know I'd done plenty of site visits over the last 4 years.
Well, it gets tough for both sides of those issues, I'm sure.
Yeah.
All right, we'll go on. Items from the public, they've left us again. From the staff.
Nothing.
Membership, we kind of reviewed one already. Anything else? Chair to address a motion to adjourn.
Go move.
Second?
Moving second to adjourn, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion approved. Thank you.
Probably screwed that up. You might have been